Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben and this is the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Hey family, I hope you're well wherever you are and you got that thin blue smoke rolling. This is episode 9 of season 5. This season covers the 2019 Australian competitive barbecue circuit and includes recordings from some of the biggest and best festivals from all over this beautiful wide brown land of ours. In short, I'm going to be spending the year flying, driving, eating, walking and talking my way around Australia, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. For this episode, it's a local comp, just a quick drive up the motorway to Brisbane for the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. This year's festival marked a hat trick for BBR, marking 3 years in a row of a great weekend of barbecue, craft beer, live music and good times. And it was the first ever KCBS competition in Queensland, so that was exciting to see all the teams getting involved in that. And boy did this comp draw them in. We had competitors travel all the way from the other side of the continent to be part of this, which was just amazing. Before we get into it, I'd like to let you know about our awesome online shop. If you, like me, have a thing for barbecue caps, you gotta check out our awesome kettle cap. It's a wide-on black trucker-style cap with a snapback fitting. The unique design sums up our two favourite things in life, barbecue and podcasts about barbecue. Check them out now at smokinghotconfessions.com/shop. I'd also like to invite you to join us at the Smoking Hot Confessions community on Facebook. If you're looking for a barbecue group that is full of open-minded people who just love to help each other out, the Smoking Hot Confessions community is a great place to continue the conversation. Finally, however you listen to this episode, please subscribe, rate and review the show. It really helps me spread that barbecue love. So without further ado, grab your favourite gluten-free, low-carb, micro-brewed craft beer and some slices of juicy grilled tri-tip and join me at the always incredible Barbecue and Beer Roadshow.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Hey folks, it's Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here. We're at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow in Cleveland. With me right now, I've got Nathan from Sticky Fingers BBQ, and we're on the countdown to the lamb hand-in. Mate, have you been enjoying the Beer and Barbecue Roadshow so far?
Yeah, mate, it's been really good, really good. We've been pretty lucky with the weather today, and yeah, there's plenty of big crowd in, so yeah, really good experience, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, the crowd's been building throughout the day, so I think they're all getting ready for the bands coming in tonight.
Definitely, yeah. No, it looks like it's pretty jockers in here, so it's ready for a big night, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, fantastic. So, mate, tell me about Sticky Fingers. How'd you guys get together?
Yeah, mate, so we all work together on a drill rig, and yeah, we've been cooking for about 4 years on site and just at home, and just all got a good passion for barbecue, and yeah, really love it. So, all got together as a team just to do a few local comps, and here we are.
So do you manage to time all your shifts on the drill rig so you're all off together so you can practice together, or you? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so we just get a bit of time. We can hide away from work and get the smoking going for the dinner after work. So it all works out all right.
Beautiful. Now I can see that you're cooking on two different variations of drum smoker here. Why is it that you go for the drums?
That's right. Yeah. So the drums, we just like the finish of the meat when we cook on them. So we like cooking hot and fast. So we've got the Gateway and we've got the Big Bopper smokers. So yeah, we just like the finish of our meat on doing hot and fast, and the Gateways and the drum smokers the way to go. We find.
Now Gateways are really taking the barbecue scene by storm at the moment here in Australia. Can you explain to me a bit of the difference between a Gateway and a Big Popper?
Yep. Well, the Gateway is made in America, and the Big Popper is just a Australian-made home job. And pretty much the same difference. We get a good finish on both. But the Gateways definitely, they look better, and but finish wise they're both pretty similar.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea sort of why people are so drawn to the Gateway? Like the word that a lot of people use is magic.
Yeah, I reckon. Well, they look good for a start. They're easy to use. They're pretty versatile. They're not so bulky, so you can fit them around. You can take them camping, barbecues, take them around, and yeah, they just sit pretty steady and always get good results for them. All your meat's always nice, never dried out. It holds the heat in really well. So they're really good smokers. Americans have done a good job.
Sounds like good stuff, mate.
Yeah.
So we're talking lamb. We're getting ready for the lamb hand in. We're on the countdown.
Yep.
Tell me what you're doing for lamb.
Lamb, we got lamb ribs from Tassie, and we've got backstrap as well, where we're going to throw in the box. So, yeah, so we're going to cut up the backstrap, and the lamb ribs will be as is, cut up, ready to go. So hopefully they turn out all good.
Any clues you can give me as to how you're doing them, like different spices and things like that?
We just use Cosmos rubs. That's our secret, our American style, and just Brad King's timber for flavour, and that's about it. Yeah, just let it go, do its own thing. Nice, hot and fast, and can't go wrong with lamb.
Yeah, it's hard to go past Cosmos Q. They do some great stuff.
Definitely, yeah. No, he's got really good selection of our sauces and rubs for every sort of meat, and yeah, we've always got the best results with him. So sticking with him, and he's really good.
Now, with regards to the other hand-ins, it's a KCBS competition, so it's a little bit different for most of us here in Queensland because it's the first ever KCBS competition here. What hand-in are you sort of most driving for today?
Oh, definitely the brisket will be the toughest. So, we're looking forward to the brisket. And last year we actually cleaned up on the lamb, so we're pretty confident on our lamb. So, the brisket will be the good one today. Or tomorrow, actually. Yeah.
Do you think there'll be much of a difference between how the ABA judges look at brisket and how KCBS judges look at brisket, for example?
I reckon they'll be pretty similar in the results. I think, the meat does all the talking, so I'm sure they'll be all on par, hopefully. But hopefully they've got some good judges here today and tomorrow. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, mate, the meat will certainly do the talking. Look, thanks very much for your time. I know you've got to get ready for this next lamb hand-in, or the first lamb hand-in. So best of luck with it.
No worries. Thanks for it, mate. Cheers.
Hey folks, Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here. We've just finished up the beef rib hand-in at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow here. And I've got the fellas here from the Chain Smokers. Lads, how you feeling this afternoon?
A little bit gutted. We missed our lamb hand-in, but we got our beef in, so things happen, but unfortunately we missed our lamb, so...
Oh, mate, that's got to be disappointing.
Yeah, a minute late, so we're a bit gutted, but... Oh, well, it happens. We just got to make sure we don't do it in the main hand-ins.
At least it was just an ancillary, though, so it's not going to count to the overall championship.
Yeah, so we're pretty happy about that. So.
Yeah, the silver lining, folks, the silver lining.
But yeah, we're pretty happy, so hopefully we've done a good beef turn-in, and hopefully the rest of our stuff comes out quite nicely. So,
mate, those beef ribs look fantastic. Tell me about what you smoked them on.
We smoked them on the Bullethead Creek. Aaron was our main cook for that one.
So we did ironbark and Lane's rub with that one.
Bit of Lane's on the beef. Nice. The ancho espresso one?
Mix with the brisket.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. And so what temperature do you usually run them at?
225 to 250.
Oh, okay. And then what, looking for around 203, or do you just probe for tenderness?
Probe for tenderness, then wrap and spread.
Very interesting. Okay. So tell me about your competition year so far.
It's been awesome, mate.
It's been really good. We really enjoy it. We love cooking, so that's what's brought us here, and we love coming down as a team and competing. So It's a lot of fun, a lot of good guys around. So
how many have you done so far this year?
This is our second this year. We're sort of quite new, so it's quite expensive, as you know, to get around and do a heap of comps. So we try just minimalise it and do what we can and what we can afford.
Spend less.
Well, there's something really interesting happening in the Queensland barbecue scene at the moment, and that is the moving in of KCBS. So this is, of course, the first KCBS competition in Queensland. Are you guys doing Burleigh and then the one in the Sunshine Coast to hit you through?
Yes, we are, yep.
No, we're doing Burleigh.
Yeah, we're going to do the Sunshine Coast.
So this one, Burleigh and then Sunshine Coast?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We haven't booked it in yet, but yeah, we're going to do it.
We've booked Burleigh in. Surprise.
Burleigh's booked in, so...
So maybe when we wrap here, then you guys can have a team meeting and you can decide that.
A bit of controversy going on in the team at the moment, but yeah, we'll be competing, so...
Infighting has broken out in the team. My job here is done. So tomorrow's the big day. You've got your, what do you got? Brisket, pork ribs, pork and chicken.
Yeah.
So which of the hand-ins are you most comfortable with of those four?
Pork ribs.
Pork ribs. I'm comfortable with brisket.
Pork ribs, brisket, and chicken.
We're a bit scared about the pork. It's Not
I'd rather cook lamb. And get it in on time.
And we're back to the lamb. I find personally pork is really hard to make it look good in the box.
Yeah, I find that as well. And we haven't had that much experience with pork too, so we're still pretty fresh at it. We've done obviously ribs and stuff like that, but just doing it to the KCBS standard, it's going to be a bit of a tough challenge to see if we can get it right.
Yeah, well, the rules are a little bit tricky. So you can butterfly the money muscle, but you can't take it all the way out. So
Till it's temp.
yeah,
It's a 165.
yeah. So does that sort of thing change your approach to cooking it, or
It does.
is your approach
No.
always the same?
No, it changes my approach to cooking it. We got 3 butts for this weekend. We're going to put one on like maybe at 5 in the morning, and then we'll put one on at 7, and then maybe one on at 8, and see what comes out better.
I like that strategy, playing the numbers.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
There we
Play
go.
the numbers.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, fellas, thanks very much for your time this afternoon. I think it's beer o'clock, isn't it?
That's it, mate. That's it.
Does the sun up?
Yeah. All right. Best of luck with it tomorrow.
Thanks, East Ben.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Hey folks, Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here. We've just wrapped up the last hand in at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow, and come all the way out of Broke, we've got Rob from Smoking Hot and Saucy and the big girl Jolene. Mate, thanks for coming all this way.
Yeah, mate, it's when Julian sort of contacted us and said, would we like to come up? I sort of jumped at the chance. We love to, spread the word of barbecue and take Jolene around to as many festivals as possible and show her off. But every time we get to cook barbecue and serve the public, it's always going to be a good day. So, the weather today hasn't been that great, but sales have been pretty good, and hopefully tomorrow the weather clears up and more people come out and support it. And it's a good event, some good music, some good beers. So, yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, I think they will. It's there's not supposed to be any more rain tomorrow, so that should come good for us.
No, fantastic. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. But let's get into Jolene. Mate, she pulls a crowd everywhere she goes. Tell me the origin story.
So, I needed a bigger smoker. I was cooking on sort of 3 or 4 smaller pits. Our comp rig, the Manhorn pit I got, and a couple of pits I'd already built at home. I'd had a sort of capacity of doing about 18 briskets at a time, and then I'd have to do beef ribs and pork butts on top of that. So I was cooking sort of 5-6 days a week just to try and keep up with our demand at that point in time. So when I was in Texas last July, August, I found a 1,000-gallon pit that we got built, and basically it was going to get shipped back to Australia, and we looked into it and how much it's going to cost. I got a couple of quotes on getting built here, and I was going to save a considerable amount of money by building it in America and getting it shipped over.
Really?
So, yeah, lots. So I won't tell you how much, but a lot of money.
That's really surprising.
Yeah, so we got a build over there, put it on a boat. In the meantime, I saw on the Facebook Marketplace the barrel that became Jolene was in for sale in Melbourne. So I contacted the guy that was selling it, and we came up to an arrangement, and a mate of mine in Newcastle helped me ship it up from Melbourne to Newcastle. I went and picked it up on a car float and shipped it back home, and when I picked it up I was like, it's a lot bigger than I originally anticipated. It was advertised as 4 metres long, 1 metre diameter, and it's 5.3 metres long and 1.52 diameter.
Yeah.
And so when I got it, I was like, wow, this is a lot bigger than I thought. It would have been a perfect 1,000-gallon tank if it was in the dimensions that was advertised. It's actually a 2,500-gallon tank.
Wow.
And so when I had it home, I was like, I'm not going to make a garden on out of it. I need to use it. So basically, the first day I got it at home, we started the project, measured it up, and thought, right, this is what I've got to do. So the 5-inch grinder came out, and we cut the doors out. It took about 3 months to build it, but all in all, it's about 5 12-hour shifts of work.
Wow.
So it wasn't much at all. We got hampered by rain, fire bans, temperature. You don't want to be outside world when it's 40 degrees Celsius.
You do not.
And I contacted a mate who just lives down the corner. He runs a business called Rusty and Broke. He does does up old cars. He's a bit of a fabricator.
Oh, right, cool.
So I said, do you want to help me build a smoker? And he thought I was, no. And so I sent him a drawing, and he goes, oh yeah, a smoker. And I went, yeah, mate, she's big. So we sort of thought, well, I sort of based it on a principle of some of the brick pits over in Texas, the Crites, the big brick pits that are 40 foot long with 60 foot stacks, and they've got natural draw. Like you walk in, the fire's on the ground, but the flames and the smoke's all sucking into the smoker.
Yep.
And so we designed it on that, where I thought, right, if I have big enough stacks, I'll be able to suck enough heat through and cook something. I didn't want to. It's only got 2 shelves. I didn't want to bog it down by putting too much meat in and having restricted airflow. I think a lot of Australian pits do that, where you've got too many shelves, too much meat in there, and you can't get the airflow required to actually do any good cooking or good Texas barbecue cooking. Yep. You still cook, but we want to do Texas barbecue, which is that real massive draw, dynamic airflow, suck the air through. So yeah, this is the concept we came up with. So we've got a firebox that weighs 1.2 tonne. The barrel, we've got 2 shelves the whole way length through there. We can fit 72 8-kilo briskets in her.
Wow.
It's got 8 doors, 4 each side, and when it's running, there's probably 3 or 4 degrees Fahrenheit difference from one end to the other.
Really?
So it's very efficient.
That's impressive.
I suppose we burn a lot of timber, but we also cook a lot of meat, so it sort of offsets itself. And now, with the demand that I've got with the food truck and festivals that we do, we got briskets going to a couple of restaurants and a couple of couple of cafes and a couple of coffee shops. So with those guys putting orders in every week and stuff like that, I'm able to do 1 cook a week now, or 2 cooks a week, as opposed to running an offset or 4 offsets for 4 days or 5 days. So I'm burning less timber, and I've got myself some time back.
Beautiful. That's the most important thing, man. You can never get back time.
No, that's right. So more time with the family, and but then we decided once we got a bigger smoke, we book a bigger festival. So here we are in Brisbane. But anyway, that's all right.
Yeah. So what happened to the one that you haven't made in Texas?
Big Tex arrived. Big Tex arrived about 2 weeks before Mestock Sydney, and then the guy who built Big Tex, Ken Horton, from Cedar Hills in Texas, he came out for Mestock Sydney, but we took Jolene to Mestock Sydney, and Big Tex went to Tokyo Field Days for her first big event. My wife ran it down there and cooked barbecue for the public.
Oh, wow.
My wife's one of probably the best brisket cooks in the country. All the boys would be like laughing at me, but I guarantee it, she's up there. Yeah, one of probably top 3 brisket cooks in the country. So, the guys cutting brisket on the bus always tell me, "Did Randy cook brisket last night?" And I'm like, "Why is that?" And he's like, "The brisket's awesome." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." So, no, she is a really good brisket cook. Knows what she's doing with brisket. So, she went there and she sold about 1,500 plates of food over a couple of days there at Tokyo Field Days. So, she ran Big Tex, and then since then we've taken him around to a few different festivals. So, Big Tex is hers. It's from Texas, so it's got a male name, and then Jolene's mine. Because she's female and keeps me away from her. But we love her, so she's good.
So is this officially then the largest smoker in the country?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest smoker in the country. Certainly, as I said, we can fit 72 8-kilo briskets in it. I'm not sure if there's a smoker in the country that could do that.
I don't think there is.
Capacity. But at the same token, it's one of the things about this smoker is it's just fantastic. Like, it cooks great barbecue. I didn't really care how it looked. We're not going to paint it. It's finished. It's in a state that as it is. She's redneck, she's rustic, but at the end of the day, it was about the product that it produced out of it. It wasn't, I needed a smoker to cook big capacity, not a smoker that looked good, that drew in a crowd. I wanted something that cooked good barbecue. The fact that she draws in a crowd is secondary, really. So we had to be able to cook consistent good barbecue, get the crowds coming back, keep people coming to eat at the bus, because this is our full-time job. So it wasn't about going and spending $60,000 or $70,000 on an Australian-built smoker with a trailer that was big enough, because that was some of the prices that were floated to me.
Oh, easily.
What I wanted to do. So I effectively built the biggest offset, I think it's in the Southern Hemisphere, for less than about $6,000.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
Mate, that is money and time well invested.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's hard work on my own part, but and we paid Fletch from around the corner, Fletch Perry. And he was a really good guy. He charged a reasonable rate to help us out, and he came over and flogged himself. But as I said, like, all in all, there's probably 5 12-hour shifts that we spent on it. And, a fair bit of that time was really working out the counterweight system, which was a bit of a suck it and see. And we got it going. We got the counterweights pretty much right the first time. They just need 5 kilos each in each weight more, and that's why we put the timbers up there to give us that extra weight to hold the doors open.
Oh, right. Yeah,
In the
okay.
hollows, there's timbers.
Yep, I can see that. There's a big chunk of, like a log in there. Yeah.
So 5 kilos extra to make sure the doors stay open for us. But yeah, it was a means to an end to try and get through a period of time where we needed to cook more and get some time back whilst we're waiting for 1,000 gallon to come. And now this is what we use all the time. So Big Tex hopefully will go down to the lot in the next couple of weeks.
Nice. He'll live there permanently.
Yeah. So he'll set up shop down there in Newcastle, and then we're currently looking for a place to be able to put Jolene in permanently in a bricks and mortar sort of fashion.
Oh, very cool.
I've also got access. My wife doesn't know this yet. I've got access to another tank the exact same size to build a sister pit.
Are you sure you don't want to talk to her about this before you talk about it to me on the camera?
That's right. She'll find out. But
she will find out when she sees the video. Yeah.
But I've also got another 1,000 gallon getting built in Texas, which we've got to try and work out going a bit. So we've got some big pits getting built, but I think if we're smart about what we're doing and we can keep consistently good barbecue, and that's the hardest thing for us about getting bigger, is to make sure that what we're putting out there is the same. People can know what they're going to expect. They're going to expect good brisket, good beef ribs. We're going to change up our pork a little bit. We've been a lot of pork belly the last couple of festivals, and I think pulled pork's been done to death, and it's one of those things that's like, if you've got a good sauce, you've got good pork belly. We've got a good pulled pork, but we've got a good sauce, but I'm just a bit overcooking it, so I want to do some pork steak, stuff like Stone's Barbecue does over in Texas. But yeah, and if the price of pork comes down, which I don't think it's going to anytime soon, we like to do some pork ribs too, but just trying to make it viable for the customer and viable for us is very hard to do. So
yeah, that's what I hear from a lot of caterers and vendors and all that sort of stuff, is that the profit margin in pork ribs just pretty much make it impossible to do.
Basically, I think a lot of the pubs are doing it, pretty much running it as a probably cost neutral benefit with their pork ribs, but they're making money on beer, whereas I need to make money on food. So I can't run pork ribs at a loss. You've got to charge, and I just don't feel comfortable charging $60, $70 for a rack of ribs. I think, don't get me wrong, I think they're probably worth that, but at the same token, no one in Australia is flush with money. We've all got to pay mortgages, we're all paying taxes, we're all got to pay rates, and we've got to put our kids and feed our kids. So, mate, I got 3 of them. I know exactly what it's like. It's one of the things we did at Broke was raise money for the local school, because we know they need the money, and it's very hard to do, but no one in Australia is flush with cash. The average Joe, there's people that are making good money, but
sure,
the average Joe that we're trying to feed, I don't want to try and rip them off. I want to give them a good feed, and hopefully they can come down, and if the price of pork comes down, we'll put pork ribs back on the menu. But and we can fit a lot of them in Jolene. So
I would imagine so. If you can fit 72 8-kilo briskets, I mean, that's got to be well into the hundreds of racks of ribs.
Yeah, certainly. It's and I was talking to the guys that did the KCBS judging today, their training, and they actually cooked the pork ribs for the training in Jolene.
Oh, really?
And the feedback that he gave us was they were the best colour pork ribs he's ever had come off a smoker. So beautiful mahogany, very even. As I said, it's very even from one side to the other. And we've competed on Jolene too. So we've done a couple of competitions now on her. And she's done pretty well.
Very cool. And so do you just run it on ironbark?
Just ironbark, mate. Big chunks of ironbark.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah. All right, man. Look, I'm going to say thanks so much for your time. Thank you for introducing me to Jolene and let me have a good look. And best of luck with the rest of the festival.
Cheers, mate. Looking forward to it.
All right, folks, welcome to the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow 2019 Pitmaster Q&A session. I've got 3 of the best in the game here for you to talk to today. And I'm going to call him out first, Graham. We got Graham from Pit Crew Barbecue, who also runs Stockpot Kitchen down in Lismore. And he's just recently published his new book, Red Hot and Smokin'. Please give him a round of applause. All righty, next up we've got Drew from Barbecue Mafia. Come on out, Drew. Barbecue Mafia is one of the best barbecue competition teams there is. Multiple grand champion winning, travelled overseas, competed overseas, won several high-level awards overseas, and has some exciting news about his mobster sauce we're going to ask him about later on. And third, we have Lance from Temple of Barbecue. His book, Temple of Barbecue, won Best Barbecue Cookbook in the World. when it was published 2016, 2017, 2016. So there you go, best barbecue cookbook in the world. Could you please give Drew and Lance a hand as well? Alrighty, so I'll actually kick things off, and I've given you each a brief introduction, but if you'd like to just speak into your mic, we'll start with you first, Graham. Just give us a bit of a rundown on who you are and what you do.
My name's Graham, obviously, or maybe not so obviously, but it's real. I am owner and pitmaster at the Stockpot Kitchen, Smokehouse Barbecue and Fried Chicken in Lismore, northern New South Wales. We also, out of that kitchen, we bottle our own condiments under the label Big Red brand for maybe obvious reasons. And yeah, also just knocked up a little cookbook called Red Hot and Smoking for also maybe obvious reasons.
Because he's got a red beard, he's hot, and he's smoking. All right, Drew, tell us a bit about Barbecue Mafia.
Hey guys, I'm Drew from Barbecue Mafia, based here in beautiful sunny Brisbane. We have been around since 2013. We have our own range of rubs and sauces that we sell across the country. Hopefully a few of you guys have been to our pop-up restaurants that we do here in Brisbane. If you haven't, come to the next one. And yeah, we're just four guys who love having a bit of fun and love this barbecue scene.
Beautiful. Lance.
Hi, I'm Lance Rosen from Big Boy Barbecue and Temples of Barbecue. I opened the first barbecue restaurant in Melbourne in 2011, before anybody was really talking about barbecue. We're pretty much accredited as being one of the pioneers of barbecue within Australia. I wrote the cookbook Temples of Barbecue, which won the award for Best Barbecue Cookbook in the World. That's a real thing, by the way. I didn't just make that up. And my mum's pretty happy about that. Hi, Mum. And we have them for sale here. We've also come up with our line of sauces, which we sell, some disposable chopping boards. Pretty much love everything barbecue and always happy to have a chat, except tomorrow during turn-in times. Don't be upset if I, don't talk to you. But come talk to me afterwards.
Now, each of these three gentlemen who are joining us up here today, they are all competitors here this weekend as well. So they're taking time out away from their pits. They have left it with the rest of their team, except for Graham, because I can see his team's over here. So I don't know. I don't know who's monitoring the fire back down there. That's going to be exciting. And what we're going to do is I'm going to run the microphone out to you, so you can ask questions of these pitmasters. So just wave your hands in the air, and I'll bring out the mic. In the meantime, Gray, I'm going to kick things off with you, mate. What was your inspiration behind writing your new cookbook?
Well, I guess for me, working in a restaurant, I'm testing recipes all the time, like writing them down. I also have a really second-rate food blog called Food is the Best Ever, which I...
Children friendly. Food is the best stuff ever.
Things, which I regularly post recipes that I've been trialling, and it got to the point where I had literally like hundreds and hundreds of recipes up on this thing, and I was like, well, wouldn't it make sense to see if some fool wants to publish it? And yeah, got lucky, I guess. Like, compiled a few, sent it to a publisher. They said, hey, yeah, let's publish this thing. And a year down the track, I have it in my lap and sitting up here talking about it,
Happy days. Really. And how's the public response been?
Well, for us, we sell them through the restaurant, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
So you sold all 7 copies?
Yeah. Auntie Chris, Uncle John. Yeah, no, definitely. It's a bit of a novelty. You get people asking you to sign your book, and when I'm not there, they ask my wife to sign it, and she loves it.
She's been forging your signature for years anyway. So.
Really? I know. It's actually paid off for her now. She gets to write messages that I would never, ever think of writing in a cookbook. But no, it's been great.
Beautiful. And now, Drew, you've got some really big news to share, don't you? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so probably the year before last, we concocted and released our own barbecue sauce, an Australian sort of spin on an American barbecue sauce. And then we entered it in the World Hot Sauce Championships over in Louisiana at the end of last year. And we were lucky enough to win the world's best steak sauce with that sauce. So designed by 4 non-chefs out of Brisbane. We're pretty stoked to be able to put together an effort like that. And yeah, it's gone gangbusters here in Australia for us. And we're pretty lucky to be able to announce that pretty soon we'll be releasing our rubs and sauce in the US. So that's a really exciting thing for us. We go to a lot of barbecue competitions now and we see a hell of a lot of people wearing our hats and our shirts and stuff around. It's quite humbling to see that people support your brand from its humble beginning. So thank you to everyone who has been part of that.
I just have a quick question. What's the easiest thing to cook for a novice cooker like myself?
The easiest thing to cook for a novice, I would probably say, is pulled pork. Yep. So go to your local butcher and ask them for a pork collar butt, and mate, that as long as you follow the directives of cooking it to the right temperature, it will, with a small rest, it will absolutely just pull apart to perfect pulled pork every time. So there is a bit of you can put it in an oven, you can do it on a smoker, you can do whatever you like, but as long as you treat it with a bit of care, you're going to get a pretty good product every single time. It's a good one to start on, it's a hard one to stuff up. So rest assured, mate, in the first probably 18 months, we stuffed up a lot. That's the only way you get better, is to make mistakes and grow from that. So hit us up on our Instagram or Facebook anytime you want a hand as well, man.
And probably as well, like, don't start with a 7 kilo Wagyu brisket, because you will probably chuck $200 down the toilet pretty quickly.
Only 200 if you're lucky.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know what they're worth to the public.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that was best steak sauce in the world, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That is so good.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. We just thought, we'll just enter it and see how it goes. And it was pretty awesome, mate, to get a result like that. So,
how humble is this though? Like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I just won best steak sauce in the world. Yeah. You know,
it could all go to crap tomorrow. So
I'm now shipping my rubs to America. I'm showing the Americans how to do their own style of barbecue, but you know,
I love it.
It's okay.
They love the Aussies over there, mate.
Yeah. Lance, you did a hell of a lot of research for your book, man. Can you tell us about what you did?
Yeah, I'm pretty much love traveling in the US for barbecue. It's a tough job, right? Everybody wants the job. So what I did was I've done a lot of road trips through the South. So the cookbook is actually a road trip cookbook, and it goes through the 4 main barbecue regions in the US. So started in Memphis, Tennessee, went down to Texas, went through the Carolinas and Kansas City, so your 4 main regions. And then, so the way it's structured is it's structured like a road trip. Talk about where we went, what we saw, what we ate, spoke about the different smokehouses, what they were cooking on, and then recipes which were designed for the Australian market. So back then it was the first Australian cookbook that was out that was talking about barbecue. Everything else was in pounds and ounces and Fahrenheit. We're talking Fahrenheit and Celsius and pounds and ounces, but it was designed for ingredients that you could find here. So when we first started off, there were no rubs you could buy in the shop. There was no wood you could get. The first time I called up a wood guy to say I wanted some apple wood, he said, yeah, bring a chainsaw and a trailer and come and cut some down, So there was like nothing available. So when we started off, like our barbecue sauce, the Dorothy's Dream, which is Kansas City style barbecue sauce, we had to make up all of our sauces and all of our rubs from scratch because there was nothing here. You couldn't get wood. Nobody even knew what we were talking about. Back in those days, we went down to Barbecues Galore, went to go and look for a smoker, and they didn't have any. They had gas-hooded grills, And it's really exciting to watch what's happened in the industry over the last 9 years. We opened in early 2011, so just watching the whole industry change and Australia embrace meat and food cooked over wood and coal is amazing.
I was just going to ask, part of the culture of barbecue is just to constantly keep experimenting and seeing what you can do and seeing what's better amongst woods and sauces and rubs. I guess coming to a competition like this, how do you decide that's the one, this is what we're going to put up today, especially with Barbecue Mafia when you've got 4 guys having the discussion,
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. Our barbecue got better when we made the call to have one captain. So you've got 4 guys, you all think you can cook pretty well, but you need to have a leader so you don't end up just pulling and pushing in every different direction. So Ryan and our team is our team captain. We all sit down and we go through the flavours together and how we want to sort of formulate the barbecue, but at the end of the day, what goes in the box is his call, and we all sort of stand behind that. And I think you kind of have to have that. If you just have everyone with egos, man, it just doesn't work out. But in terms of the flavours and profiles and stuff, it took us a long time to get to where we wanted to be. And this stuff out here, the competition stuff, is probably trying to make the most inoffensive barbecue you can make. So the stuff at home, you'll put heaps of chili in the back end of it and spiciness and what have you. Here, you just want you want Joe Blow to love it. So the guy in the middle who, doesn't like really hot and doesn't like no heat, he's going to love it. So that's what we kind of go for.
And if you can't solve the debate diplomatically, there's always jiu-jitsu.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm just wondering how you would really incorporate the smoky kind of barbecue if you were just at home in a learner's kind of situation. What kind of setup you would have in, for example, a townhouse in the middle of Brisbane?
Can you repeat that? It was really hard to hear that with the music behind us.
She was asking what advice you would have for an absolute dead set beginner in the getting into the world of smoking who lives in a townhouse.
Look, I think for the beginner, most beginners would over-smoke their food. I think the biggest key for me is to understand smoke as a seasoning, not as predominant flavour profile. You don't want to be burping smoke 1 hour later. You don't want to feel like you've licked an ashtray. So if you use smoke as a seasoning, salt, pepper, smoke, which means a lighter smoke profile, and then work to have a clean fire to get that. So you can add that in very lightly, but I think biggest mistake I see is most people over-smoking their food in the beginning, thinking it needs to taste like a campfire.
Should probably also check your body corporate rules too.
or not.
Hey boys, thanks very much. It's really enlightening because I'm a complete novice in this and really enjoying it for today. One of the questions I've got is that I'm a big Hurston Bloomfield fan, and so I was just wondering, in this industry, is there anything going a little bit gourmet and crazy that you can think of in the next 5 years?
In terms of gourmet, you mean more fine dining?
Not so much fine dining, but just some really interesting, cool stuff that people want to come and experience. Because that's what that Hurston stuff is, more about the experience than anything.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. I think we're seeing a lot of different meats being cooked barbecue style. You know, it used to, about 9 years ago, nobody knew what it was. So pulled pork was, the norm, and brisket was great, and ribs are always good, and chicken. But now you're starting to see things like lamb shanks, oxtails, that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'd call it gourmet, but it's just, I think the Australian mindset, and we look at our meats and we go, oh yeah, that'd be good, and we give it a try. Whereas sometimes in the US, they're kind of stuck in the paradigm of what it should and shouldn't be. And we have great lamb here. I think lamb on the smoker is probably one of the best meats to smoke,
Even for us at the restaurant, quite often you'll have, say, pulled pork or brisket left over from the night before. And just, Australia's pretty big on the Asian influence. And so, I love it. I love Thai food. I love Vietnamese food. And I'll quite often find myself doing a pho, Vietnamese soup with chopped brisket in it. Everything else is traditional Vietnamese, but chopped brisket. Or I'll do a pulled pork fried rice. And honestly, you wouldn't go past it. You would cook pulled pork just to make the fried rice. It is absolutely awesome. Pulled pork spring rolls. This
banh
sort
mi,
of
did you
stuff.
do banh mi? Banh mi would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Smoked pork belly in a banh mi is off its noodle. And this sort of stuff in Australia, I think, maybe will start to maybe become a little trendy because we do like that Asian influence so much.
What I was going to say is our proximity to Asia actually works in our favour. We have very good Asian food in this country as opposed to in the US where it's maybe not that great. And so things like, things that I've done is, duck legs, salt and pepper duck legs, and put them in steamed buns, that kind of stuff. So we're very free here because we have such a wide variety of cultures whose food we see on a regular basis. It's not like it's back in the 70s where it was fish and chips, It's a lot more than that.
There's also a lot of people associate barbecue in Australia with what you've had at a pub. So people might have had the pork ribs that might have been boiled and then grilled, pulled pork, which has maybe been sitting in their back of their refrigerator for a whole week. Do yourself a favour, guys. Get down to Lismore and see these guys. If you're in Melbourne, go and see these guys. This is real barbecue. So I've done a tour around Texas and eaten barbecue 10 times in 2 days. This is real barbecue that you're sitting here listening to at the moment. It's easy to throw it in an oven, but the time and the labour that goes into proper wood smoke barbecue it's another level completely.
Can I add to that, just talking about ribs, boiled and grilled ribs and texture? I don't mind chewing a little bit of charry bark, It's cooked over fire, and so edges do burn. At the risk of sounding funny, I'd rather keep that for myself than serve that to the customer sometimes, because that's the tastiest bit.
Even, sorry mate, but while we're on the whole, the Asian influence coming into it, it's like, that Asian street food, like I really like a little bit, we were talking about it earlier, like I like my barbecue with a little bit of dank, like I don't want it to be a fine dining restaurant. Like I want there to be a bit of bloody sauce spilling over the side with the pit beans, and like I want there to be a bit of grease on the peach paper, like I like that sort of stuff. And this Asian influence, it's the full street food market. Sorry. I'm so not good at, I should be banned from public speaking. Yep.
Sorry, Ben, one more thing. We're talking about gourmet stuff, right? We're talking about Asian. So at a competition, 2 competitions ago, so I was sitting there and I was thinking about barbecue flavours, right? And I went tandoori cooked over fire, Indian. The tamarind sauce is a bit like sweet and sour. So I turned in tandoori chicken. Okay, don't do that, all right? Seriously, it's not good. The judges don't like it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, quite gourmet, but the flavours were great for home, but don't do it in a competition. Told you here, you heard it here first, right?
All right, excuse the voice, but I've started to see more and more restaurants doing like a mix of woods with their smoke. Is that more a traditional thing in America or not so much?
Was that mesquite?
He was saying that he's seen in a bunch of barbecue restaurants that people are mixing their woods, using different types of wood. So he's asking, is that a traditional American thing, or is that something we're just doing here in Australia?
No. I think it's probably a very traditional American thing. But maybe these boys are better off answering it because I've never been there.
So different parts of the states, and you'll read that in Lance's book, the different parts of the states have different native woods, so they'll cook with different woods. We cook with Queensland ironbark. So we're from Brisbane. We have acres and acres of ironbark that's available to us out past Ipswich. But when you go to somewhere like Adelaide, those guys use red gum down there, so that changes things again, and these guys are probably different again.
Look, I asked somebody in the US this exact same question, and this is what he told me. He said, this is what I can get and this is what's cheap. So that's what I'm using. They use what's local. So in Georgia, they'd use peachwood because they grow Georgia peaches. The woods are becoming a lot more available all over America as well as Australia. I like to use, so if I'm cooking in an offset, I use 2 different kinds of wood normally. I'll use a hardwood for my charcoal base, so like an ironbark or something like that. And then I'd use a lighter wood for the smoke flavour profile. I like things, like cherry, apple, pecan wood, the nut woods, the fruit woods. But if you use a light wood for your charcoal base, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot to run an offset because it chews through it. So you need to get a coal base. If you're cooking your wood hot, it's not going to give you off much smoke. So if you're cooking a hot, small, clean fire, then you're using another wood for smoking. So, you give those different tries. Pecan wood is probably my favourite. It's like hickory. Hickory and pecan are the same genus, but pecan is a lot sweeter and lighter in flavour profile. Does that answer your question?
How you going, guys? Just quickly, that being said, with your favourite wood, what would be your go-to wood, meat and rubs, given the choice of anything?
Meat, wood and rubs. Depends what it's for, really.
Is that a trick question? Well, I mean, like, we're the same, like, you know, being in Lismore, they still, like, we get our ironbark, which is predominantly what we use at the restaurant. But, you know, like, it works well for brisket. It works well for lamb. It's kind of one of those little bit across the boardy, you know, and it's a little bit of a, I don't know, when we started doing barbecue, using the ironbark for us was like, it's that American style of cooking, but it's like that Australian camping nostalgia. Like, you know, like I literally get up every day, I light the fire. Like, that's my thing. And I just never, ever tire of that smell, like that little nostalgia hit.
And the sound for me as well, that crackle, crackle, crackle of the open fire.
I am sorry to jump in, is that all right? So I like apple and pecan wood are probably my favourites, with hickory if I'm doing a pellet cook. And in terms of rubs, when I first started the restaurants, I went over the top with the rubs. I put more and more stuff in them, and now I'm pulling more and more stuff out of them. I'm trying to get it as simple as possible. I actually want the meat to taste of the meat that I'm cooking. And I think this is another thing, you know, everyone wants to put more in, but, you know, I think the good cooks are the ones that can simplify what they do. I want the beef to taste of beef, the chicken to taste of chicken, not taste of all the other rubs. So I would start with salt, pepper, sugar, garlic, you know, and some paprika, just for a little bit of colour. And then I'll be very careful how much more I add to that. A few aromatics, a few seasonings, but really and truly my rubs have become more and more simple over the last 10 years.
When we first got into barbecue, I can say I used to buy half of Woolies every time I wanted to cook meat. So I'd go there and buy 55 Master Food spices, all the honey, all the butter. You really don't need any of that. All you need to do is go and spend your money on the best possible quality meat you can, because the best quality meat in will be the best out. Then you just have to learn to properly cook it. So, but yeah, salt, pepper is most guys go to. It's a Texas style. If you really want an awesome beef rub, maybe Mafia Steakout if you really want to have a...
I've heard it's good, right?
Yeah. Goes okay.
She's all right.
Mr. Humble. Alrighty, folks, you got any more questions there? We are into the final hour countdown now before hand-in, so we might have one more last question, because we will have to let our pitmasters get back to their tents and get ready for this first hand-in.
How you going? Do you guys ever use ceramic barbecues or any of that sort of gear, the Kamados?
No, I haven't. Like, I've always had an offset.
Yeah.
And, you know, like just recently I got my first Weber kettle, you know, like literally started on an offset, have a couple of offsets.
We've used we've used Big Green Egg before, which is a ceramic style. Yeah. I kind of think to an extent it takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. Yeah. I like to sit and feed a fire and have a beer with your mate. It's kind of an excuse with the wife as well to say we've got to be out at the pit, love, you know. But, you know, with a ceramic cooker, you can almost go to bed as long as you don't have too much coal in there to start off. And you can almost go to bed, wake up, and a pork could be cooked in the morning. So if that's what you're after your time for, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my view, there's a different cooker for every different occasion. You know, I like to collect smokers. I've got way too many. If you want to buy a smoker, come and see me. Everything from offsets to pellets to ceramic grills to drums. I love trying new things and trying cooking on new instruments. You know, you can cook on a garbage can if you wanted to, make a little fire in the bottom. You know, there's a place and a moment for everything. The offsets are great. I mean, it's great for men's mental health, for the boys to get together and have a few beers and make fire and look at the meat and, you know, having 5 or 6 hours sitting around with your mates. Guys don't do that much anymore, and I think it's a really valuable part of what barbecue is for me. But there's moments midweek where I just want to light a fire and not have to look at it. So that's where the ceramic cookers, the pellet cookers and the drums come into play for me.
Yeah. I was just more wondering if you get the same sort of flavour out of the ceramic towards the offsets?
Look, I've done classes. I do classes in Melbourne where I cook on different cookers, and a lot of people can't tell what they were cooked on. Each cooker's got its own little profile, and you can play with them and muddy up the smoke and make it more smoky or less smoky as you want. But a good clean fire is going to give you a similar finished product. The ceramic cookers are very efficient to run, and that's good because, like when you're starting to spend, $5 a kilo on wood and coal, it adds up really fast when you're cooking often. So, I like to be able to, save as much of that as possible because I'm a tight ass.
I think that's a common trait to most barbecuers. That's why we cook all the cheapest, lowest grade cuts typically, unless you get into competition barbecue, and then it gets really expensive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you please give our 3 Pitmasters a hand? We've got Graham from Stockpot Kitchen, Drew from Barbecue Mafia, and Lance from Temples of Barbecue. All 3 of these gentlemen are here competing this weekend, so do head on down into the paddock. Do go and say hello to them. Go say hi. I believe they'll all have their various books and rubs and sauces and things available for purchase down there. Give it a crack. Speaking of crack, I do believe there is a cracked chicken recipe in that book there. That is good eating. I've had that. That is good stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, thank you very much. Please give these gentlemen a round of applause.
Thanks, Ben.
This is Jesse with Seven Sins Barbecue, and you're listening to Smoking Hot Confessions.
Hey folks, Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here. It's Sunday morning, about 8 a.m. at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. It's not too early for Jim from Bluebird Kitchen. Mate, how good is this weekend?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. The weather's held out, which is awesome. Only a couple of little spats of rain, so that's been pretty good. And today's looking like a cracker, so we should have a pretty good cook, I reckon.
Yeah, there's no sign of that rain today.
No, absolutely. It's blue skies all around, so that's awesome. Hopefully they get plenty of punters out here and everyone has a good day.
So fill me in on Bluebird Kitchen.
Yeah, look, we started about 4 years ago in Warwick, which is about 2 hours kind of southwest of Brisbane. We didn't initially start so much low and slow, but it's kind of just grown into it through demand, and now it's our kind of primary business. We have a whole heap of offsets that we cook on each day, and it's really just it's become a real thing for us now, which is awesome.
Yeah, I've been watching you on the social media, and it looks like it's just banging out there.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and a bit humbling in a way, because we have people driving from Brisbane and Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast every weekend now to come and try our meat, and it's pretty awesome. We're just really happy to be able to kind of show off the local produce in the area and just be involved in the community in a positive manner like that. And so it's been really cool for us.
Now, I was going to ask about that because Warwick's a bit kind of out of the way. So, most people open these kind of places in large city areas. So, is it to do with the actual area itself? Is it that local produce that sort of drew you to Warwick?
Yeah, look, I grew up there, so that was one thing. We were trying to find a bit more balance with the hospitality lifestyle and having a family. But then the really big thing is that there's just amazing producers in that area. So we get a lot of stuff direct from abattoir or direct from farm and stuff like that, which is fantastic. And it's really cool to be able to build these relationships directly with the actual suppliers or growers or meat guys. And so it is really great to be out there and kind of learning, be involved with all these really awesome companies. John D's one that's been fantastic in supporting the restaurant as well as the barbecue team, and there's a whole heap of others that I can mention.
Yeah, I'll bet, yeah. So tell me, what are some of the dishes that have that local produce in it?
Yeah, look, pretty much everything at the moment is fairly local, which is really cool for the restaurant. The stuff that's been super popular has been our brisket, pulled pork at the moment. We get some stuff from Junaby, which is quite close to Warwick, that's fantastic, and then we get a lot of really awesome just local potatoes and stuff like that, which we make a lot of our sides out of, which is also really cool to be able to have just a really wide range of local produce across the menu, not just meats or not just veg, or even our herbs are grown locally, which is cool as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the great thing about being regional is that we're not actually going out of our way to get this stuff. It's just what is available, and that's really cool. And so we're really happy to be able to use it and then have that knock-on effect of supporting other small businesses.
That's so good, man. So it's kind of like a seasonal menu then.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to change pretty much every 3 months as the seasons kind of go one to another. Another thing about Warwick is it really has seasons. So as we hit winter, it really drops out. Like we'll be -2, -4 in a couple of weeks, I'd say.
Wow.
So it'll, so we do need to kind of keep up with that and try to offer things that are appealing in that cold weather. And then exactly the same as it warms up for summer and stuff, we go up to 30 plus days, and so therefore the sides in the meats and stuff kind of have to reflect that a little bit. So but it's great. Like, it's just a good challenge, keeps things fresh, and yeah, we really enjoy that.
So good, mate, so good. Now, I got to ask a question. Last time I saw you, I think, was at Toowoomba, and you had a giant smoker there. And now this weekend, you've got a giant caravan.
I feel like I thought I'd never be one of those guys that own trailers, but now I've got I feel like I've got like 5 or something now, and there's a real variety. This one my wife found in a shed near Warwick, and we picked it up, and now we're just restoring it. So it's kind of like 80% of the way there. We're going to do a bit to the outside, but it's been fantastic to have a caravan at comp, so we're not sleeping on the ground, and we've got a little bit more luxury, I suppose. So it's been good. A lot less boxes, so that's been awesome as well.
Yeah, some nice interior storage would be very cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you kind of, rather than fishing through a few boxes to find that one rub that you're looking for, you can just open a drawer and there it is. So that's been a real bonus. We've enjoyed that this weekend.
Sounds awesome, mate. So good. Listen, I'm going to let you keep getting ready for your first hand-in.
Cheers, man.
Which is what today?
First hand-in's chicken at midday today, and we're just kind of getting ourselves ready. We've got our pork Boston butts on at the moment, and our briskets going. Our ribs are going to start real soon, so we're kind of, everything's going. The 30-minute hand-ins today mean that we kind of need to be a little bit more on top of it than usual. But it's good. It's I'm really looking forward to today. Like, as we said, the weather's looking good. I think everything should go pretty smoothly, hopefully.
I think so, mate. Look, best of luck, and thanks for being on the show.
Nice chatting to you, man. Thanks.
Hey folks, Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here, nice and early on the Sunday morning at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. With me right now, I've tracked down the Billy from Meet at Billy's. Mate, what are you doing this weekend?
Mate, I'm here doing a good deed, as all sponsors should. I'm giving the boys a hand, the Barbecue Mafia. So they get me doing all the fun jobs, looking after the pit and cleaning up after them. But it's good fun. I get to come and have a few beers and, yeah, give them a hand where I can. It's good.
Yeah, well, they must enjoy having you on the team, because this isn't the only barbecue festival that you've done with them, is it?
No, we did the Royal last year, which was...
Royal.
Yeah, mate, that was a game changer for sure. And, yeah, my responsibility there was brisket, get it over there, trim it. And, yeah, we got a 5th and a 7th, so we were blown away. We really were.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, so I am useful. They won't tell you that, but I'm good for something, apparently. So.
Well, they did kick you out to talk to me while they're preparing their chicken.
Yes, that's actually correct, yeah. They're focused, but I can hear them carrying on, so they can't be that focused around there.
No. Well, it is barbecue. You can't take it too seriously.
No, that's exactly right, mate. You're here to have fun, have a few drinks, get social, and, yeah, fingers crossed you come out with something. But if you don't, it's a good weekend out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you are trimming up those comp briskets, now, Barbecue Mafia, you obviously know a lot about what you're doing if they're giving you the briskets to trim up. Tell us about what goes into that process, about how to trim up a brisket.
Well, firstly, selection. So obviously I like to try and buy as many briskets as I can, go through and find the right one. You want that nice thick flat, you want that healthy point, you want to flip it up, you want to see that beautiful marbling, that consistent marbling through, especially for comp, you want to go the best of the best. So yeah, once you remove that the point, I like to sort of square it up, shape it correctly. I usually like to put it back in the fridge, firm it back up as well, because the Wagyu can render at quite a low temperature, so it's hard to trim. But basically, I'll follow that Clark Crew barbecue. I've watched a lot of what he does, and you just got to, it's like shaping it. It's an art form. That's what I like to think of it as. I like to no distractions, stay focused, and just get that perfect dome. You want that nice fall off each side, so you don't get those lumps and bumps through it. When presentation, I'm a big believer that when it comes to a hand in box, if it looks good to a judge, it'll taste better. So presentation to me I think is quite important.
I believe so. So what type of brisket have you used this weekend?
Security Foods, which where these boys are big ambassadors for. We used them over in Kansas. So Security Foods Wagyu. We got a 7 to 8 and a 9. They both had similar marbling, but yeah, there's one there it's the beauty. That's the one we're banking on. But fingers crossed the cook goes well and we get it all done on time. And yeah, we'll see how we go.
So good, mate. So good.
No, it's good.
And how's things going with the shop?
Good, really good actually. I mean, cooler weather. These barbecue season's up and running, so there's people buying briskets and ribs. We're selling it all. But yeah, this time of year is always good for us. You know, everybody's out. It's cooler. You're a bit more motivated to actually cook something. It's not too hot. So yeah, no, it's really good. Things are great.
Now, I know that you are here with Mafia this weekend, but I do want to ask you a question about serial grillers, because two of those blokes actually work for you. So you've trained them, you've taught them everything you know, and now they're picking up RGC in Townsville. Man, how proud does that make you?
Oh, mate, I know. I'm like a father figure, really. I was straight on the phone last weekend. I watched the Facebook Live, and I was so proud of them. They've been in the circuit for a while, and they've just been falling short, but that was their time. And yeah, fingers crossed. I want them to do as well as anybody today. So yeah, they've done me very proud.
Did they walk back into the shop like rock stars?
They did, mate. I tell you what, if there's anyone that gives them a hard time when they bomb out, it's the staff at work. So that was the first stop when they drove back from Townsville, was straight into the shop just to gloat and walk around and do a bit of peacocking. But yeah, they deserved it, mate. Well done. I think all the boys at work too are pretty proud of them.
Nice, man. Very good. Very cool. Well, look, thanks for everything that you do for the scene. I know that you are a big supporter of it all.
Yeah,
and best of luck with the competition.
Awesome, mate. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Hey folks, Ben from Smoking Hot Confessions here. Things are heating up on Sunday at the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. With me right now, I've got Rusty from the Charcoal Project. Mate, I haven't seen you in about 6 months. How's it been?
Yeah, mate, we've just been chugging along doing our own thing. So, yeah, mate, everything's going quite well. We've had 2 comps since Christmas, so this is number 3 and we'll see where we go from there. So, yeah.
Well, I saw you at Kondari. What was number 2?
Bundaberg. So.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So up there in country Queensland. So yeah, mate, fantastic comp. We sort of did all right in there too. We come away with 2nd in brisket and 3rd in beef ribs. So
I was watching the awards, man. I was like, "Go Rusty, go Rusty!"
Thanks, man. Appreciate the support.
Yeah. So now you're putting on the Rib King at this festival. Tell us about what that is.
Yeah. So Rib King's just essentially a side pot. A little bit very similar to what they did down at Smoke and Broke with Nick Cooper with Brisket King.
That got a bit out of control, didn't it?
Yeah, look, that was insane. Hey, we're not giving away any smokers. We thought we'd just do something a little bit more Queensland. So we've gone, it's a 6-pack buy-in. So far, I think we've got about 19 teams signed up, so that's 19 6-packs. Winner takes all.
Wow, nice.
Mate, that's a nice little side gig, and everyone can participate. So, yeah. So away we go. It's good.
Very nice. And how's your Jambo?
The Jambo's going incredibly well. So for those who don't know, 1 of 2 in Australia. Look, basically just a big straight flow offset, insulated firebox. Basically just runs on the smell of an oily rag, if you like. So, yeah, and just holds temp all day long.
Now, I heard a rumour, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a little accident with your suspension setup.
Yeah, so there's a reason why you don't normally put suspension on a smoker. So we've got a little Weber Go Anywhere on the front of it. We generally put a heat sink under there with just a pan of water. When we fired up to do dinner on day 1 on Friday night, we forgot to put that under. Just got a little bit hot under there, and it's popped the fitting. So it's on airbag suspension. It's grounded at the moment. We've got to get another fitting, otherwise it's not going on the trailer this afternoon.
I was going to ask, how are you going to get that fixed by this afternoon?
Yeah, probably not going to be, but a little bit of muscle, mate. There's plenty of big boys around here, so we'll be right.
Oh, that's true, yeah. So what do you got lined up for the rest of the year?
So from here, we'll do the next Brisbane comp, Victoria Park, I think it is.
It's in about 4 weeks' time, yeah.
Yeah, correct. And then we'll do Kingaroy. I've got a little engagement I'm doing with David from Barbecues Galore Kiwana Waters at the Beer and Barbecue Festival that's happening on the Sunshine Coast at Kiwana Stadium.
Oh, cool.
Up there on the Sunshine Coast. And then from there, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, mate, not a real busy schedule, but just enough to keep us, occupied and away from home a little bit.
Yeah.
Not always a bad thing.
So is that one at with Kiwana Waters Barbecues Galore there? Is that in lieu of the Malula Barbecue Festival that wasn't on this year?
No, it's just basically a craft beer fest with a barbecue element attached to the side of it. And I'll just be jumping in his tent and just cooking a few things for the punters to have a try and sell a bit of wares. So yeah.
Okay, so it's not an actual competition.
No. So yeah, it's just a festival essentially.
So you're basically going to go along, spend the day in the sunshine on the Sunshine Coast, drink some craft beer, and cook a little bit of Q.
Yeah, sounds pretty tough, doesn't it?
It's a rough life, man.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to do it. I'll take it. I'm not giving it up. So
beautiful, man. So is this your first KCBS comp?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it is a little bit more of an eye opener, to be honest with you. So going from those 1 hour hand-ins in between each protein to 30 minutes. So yeah, it seems quite daunting at this stage, but we got plenty of bodies around, so we'll be right.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, I'm going to let you get back into it. I've taken up enough of your time already. Thanks very much, and best of luck with the competition.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Pretty much.
God, I hate you so much. You're killing it, man. You're killing it. So good. So at a barbecue festival like today, we're talking smoked meats, we're talking low and slow, wood-fired stuff. What particular beers go well with traditional style barbecue like we're talking about today?
Anything that's going to cut through the fat. So something that's like a Pilsner is going to be great. You're drinking a mango sour, so that sour should cut through the fattiness of it, but you've also got the nice fruitiness from the beer. IPAs are also great because they mimic certain hops will mimic like a passion fruit flavor or a mango flavor, pineapple as well. So you can find that will actually help cut the meat as well. Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't a lot of beers have hops in them, and it depends on the percentage?
Every beer has hops in it.
Every beer has hops in them.
You have to have a percentage of hops to be called a beer.
Interesting. So it's not just barley or not just wheat or...
Barley, wheat, or malts, water, hops is basically what you make traditionally beer out of. And then we also add... you're drinking a almond milk stout. So
everybody's drinking. Hey! We love the Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. Yes.
Thanks.
I just completely threw our expert off here, and I've just railroaded the Q&A session. You're welcome. My name's Ben. Thanks for coming out. So brisket, all right, when we're talking brisket, we're talking about it's a high fat content meat. Yep. It's been low and slow smoked, usually with salt, pepper, garlic, over different flavoured wood profiles. Now, from what you've just told me, if it's a high fatty content meat like a brisket, I'm going to want something sour to cut through it.
Or what I'm drinking is a New England IPA. So it's sour and hoppy. Would you like to have a try?
Cheers. Oh, so many choices.
Let me have a little...
I get to drink in my job too. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can really taste the higher hop percentage in that.
So it's basically when they originally were brewing New England IPAs, they basically make it wrong. They cut everything off a bit early. They add extra oats in there to give it a haziness. They over hop it, so that's where you're getting this really cool tropical flavors coming out.
Yeah, perfect for Queensland.
Yep,
love it.
It's a very popular style right now, New England IPAs.
Yeah, I recently did a bit of a tour of the United States, and the IPAs are booming in the microbrewery industry over there. Everywhere you go, there's 16 different types of IPAs from various microbreweries, which is an interesting bit of an industry trend. So, are we following a similar trend here in Australia with microbreweries growing in popularity?
Yeah. So they tell us that there's 11% of the market is craft beer now.
Wow.
But it's growing by 13%, 33% per year of that 13% or 11%. So it is growing.
Growth per year.
It's growing at 33% in that individual marketplace. But so it still works out it'll probably be 15% in the next 5 years.
Perfect. I love it. Take that, Carlton United Breweries.
We've just got another 3 breweries that have been open or that are opening. One of them's actually here in Redlandshire. And there's another 2 opening in the next month around Brisbane. So that'll bring it up to about 20 breweries in Brisbane.
Wow, that's so good.
Just in Brisbane, yeah.
So in terms of the different cities, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, who's leading the way in terms of craft beer?
Probably Melbourne still. But you also have Sydney with the Inner West. Square kilometre versus population, they've got more breweries than Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked to actually see how many breweries are actually just in that inner west of Sydney, which Wayward is actually part of.
To be honest, that's actually quite surprising to hear that, because when I hear people talk about Western Sydney, I tend to think more about like Tui's New, VB, football. So I think that says a lot.
Camberdown.
All right. Okay. Cool. So one of the things that I've noticed, because I was a home brewer for 20 years, and then I had a kid.
Yep.
And the room that was my brewery room, well, that became the kids' room, and I had to sell all my stuff. Heartbreaking stuff. Anyway.
What were you brewing out of? Were you brewing out of plastic or stainless or?
Oh, cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah.
I was brewing out of plastic.
That's how most brewers actually start out. The amount of brewers that I've actually worked with over the years that have started out in the spare room brewing away and just going to these sort of festivals to actually try and get some more information, talk to the people that they need to end up getting that next little step, who've ended up becoming brewers and owning their own breweries.
Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, my cousin actually owns and runs a brewery down in Cessnock, Potter's Brewery. Which one? Oh, yeah? Oh, you're from Cessnock? I'm so sorry. So I was home brewing, and one of the things I noticed just in my own patterns of what I would brew from year to year was in the summer I tended to go for the lighter, paler ones, yep. And then in the winter I wanted more sort of darker, sort of thicker, heavier sort of beer. And I
like dark
don't
beer
know why.
all year long.
Sorry?
I like dark beer all year long.
Oh, okay, all right. Is there a like a seasonal link between different styles of beer?
I think it's a lot of how you actually feel. So yeah, you're going to on those darker months, you're going to want something that's a little bit more comforting, I suppose. Yeah. Simple, soothing.
So if you can stand your spoon up in your beer, so you're a Guinness girl. Too dark.
If you like your dark beer, you need to go down to the New England stand and try their almond coffee. So you get your coffee in there, almond milk. So you're almost getting one of those little flash lattes.
Does that technically make it a breakfast beer?
Technically, yes.
So I can have a cup of that and a bacon and egg McMuffin, and I'm good to go.
Hell yeah.
Breakfast of champions, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Breakfast of champions.
Have you tried the Founders breakfast beer?
Are you telling me there's seriously a breakfast beer?
There is definitely a breakfast beer.
That's fantastic.
It's from Founders in Michigan. It comes out every once in a while. It's coffee, stout. It's just glorious, and it's about 10.5%.
That'll wake you up in the morning, or put you to bed late at night. Multi-purpose. Very good. Very good. So have you tried some of the delicious barbecue going out here today?
Yes, I have. Primal, I've tried some of theirs. Bearded something.
I think we're all bearded out there. You have to give me a little bit more than that.
I wanted to say Bearded Lady, but that's a bar in West End. Beauty in the Beard.
Beauty in the Beard. There
Thank
you go.
Yeah, man, they were awesome. They've looked out for us down there. Their food is excellent. And the guys from Primal, they've been really cool as well.
Yeah, Primal are doing some really good things with their whiter meats at the moment, the pork ribs and things like that. Is there a big difference between beers matched with red meat and beers matched with white meat? And then in that as well, is there then a distinction between pork and chicken?
Yes. But I think beer just goes with food as an overall. I didn't bring any of it with me today, but things such as
That's okay, I can wait.
Yeah, I've got some beers at my place if you want to come back.
Cool, sounds good.
So farmhouse ales, saisons, even fruited saisons, they'll all go with those lighter style meats, even fish, things like that. They generally carrying a little bit more spice. So, sorry, I'm a bit sick. Any of those lighter effervescent beers are going to go quite well with the lighter style of meats, yeah. And with your darker stuff, IPAs, stouts, porters, smoked beers as well, box, yeah, anything like that.
How does a smoked beer work? How does that come together?
Whole new thing. So smoked beers, generally what they'll do is they'll smoke the malts using a similar smoker. Some of the smaller breweries will do. Just put a tray of malts out and choose the wood that they want to smoke it with. So New England did a smouldering stump beer about a year ago for Gabs, which is a Great Australian Beer Spectacular that gets held out every year around just after Easter, so March, April sort of thing. And they smoked all of their malts on red ironwood. Is that what it is?
Ironbark.
Ironbark. That's ironbark. Yep. And it was just fabulous. It tasted like almost. It was reminiscent of a whiskey.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like an old whiskey barrel.
Yep.
Well, that's quite interesting because one of the most popular and singularly most expensive flavour woods for smoking is old whiskey barrels. So there's an interesting tie in there.
We're tying in a lot of, with beers, we're actually using a lot of old whiskey barrels now for aging. So one of the breweries I work with in New England, they've actually just done a imperial stout with ex-Maker's Mark barrels.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They've got to be, they've still got to be wet. They can't have sat there for too long in order to get that flavor from the whiskey out. We'll bring you over some Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels as well.
We do love Buffalo Trace here in our barbecue scene in Australia. Good stuff. Now, I want to just loop back to something you said before. You mentioned spice in beer. Now, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, I went to Dan Murphy's and I picked up a Japanese chili beer. And it was really spicy. Like it burnt all the way down and all the way out. Yeah. Fun times. True story. Anyway, what is the most exotic sort of flavoured beer that you've come across?
Ooh. That's a hard one,
that you can remember.
One that I've actually had, that I've actually been a part of, was grapefruit Kwandong, which is a native Australian peach.
Wow. Grapefruit and a native Australian peach.
Yeah, Kwandong.
So does the bitterness of the grapefruit sort of balance out the sweetness of the peach? Is that what that is?
Well, it was also done with corn. So, and it was made into a goze. So goze is traditionally a salty beer. So you have all the elements. The way when I explain beers a lot of times to bartenders, I explain it in flavor profiles. So sour, fruited, malt-driven, or hop-driven. So those are your basic styles. And then you can actually start doing a whole thing. And having some bitterness there. And what you end up doing is creating a profile that everyone can actually understand. So this beer was in conjunction with the Gresham in the city, which was won Australia's Best Bar 2 times in row, and we did a Kwandong grapefruit goes, which
wow.
We just kind of threw everything in there. The reason why we used corn was because they're traditionally a whiskey bar. So we wanted to tie everything all in together.
I actually went to a whiskey bar in Sydney there a few months ago, and you walk through an old barber shop.
Yep, I've been there. Yep.
Yeah, okay. And you like knock on this door, and the panel slides open, they look out at you, and as they're opening the door, part of me inside went, please be a legal Chinese casino, please be a legal Chinese casino. And I was definitely not cool enough to be in there.
Were they still cutting hair out the front? When I walked in there one day, they were still cutting hair. So I walked through.
No, it was after hours. Yeah. The barbershop was closed. But yeah, it was very trendy. Like all this sort of these boutique whiskey bars, boutique bourbon bars, craft beer bars. I think we're sort of I can still remember a time when you were either a new man or you were a VB man. And I think that the Australian culture is kind of evolving to embrace all these different styles and these different sort of niches of industry, which is quite interesting.
When I first came to Australia, early 2000s, my first real job in the industry was working for a hotel here in Brisbane, and there was just 2 taps, right? No, there
New
was
and VB.
Well, there was Gold, 4X, Guinness. And the old guys would always have a Guinness and a pony of whiskey.
Right, interesting. You know, I lived in South Korea for 2 years, and they would do what's called a bomju. Yep. And they would take... you're familiar with bomju? Yeah. If you want to mess up your night, you want to get into the bomju. They get a big glass of beer, and they pour a shot of soju into a shot glass, and then sink the shot glass into the beer. Yeah. He knows bomju. He knows bomju. Yeah, that'll definitely put a bit of a odd hair into your night. Strange things happen on bomju. All right, so we need to sort of wrap this up soon. We've got to make way for the chili wing eating contest. What would be your 3 best beer recommendations to pair with barbecue?
I'd probably start off with a nice Pilsner. Do I have to choose some meat as well? Or are you going to give me some meat?
Let's do that. All right. I'll just a second. Be prepared, people. Okay, I'll give you 3 meats, one at a time. Oh, I'm still going on the pink one that
the raspberry Berliner Weiss.
Summer cracked it and poured it into my cup when I wasn't looking. So it's Summer's fault. All right, so let's go. Well, okay, we're having a chili wing eating contest here shortly. So spicy chicken wings, let's say buffalo wings are a pub favourite. If I'm going to sit down to a bowl of buffalo wings, what do I need to drink?
That's definitely going to be my Pilsner.
Pilsner? Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right, chicken parmigiana night. Oh, that's not barbecue. Just broke my own rules. Okay, how about a nice big thick Wagyu ribeye?
I'm going to go a nice New England IPA. Yeah.
IPA, all right, awesome. And the last one, let's say a big sticky rack of USA-style pork ribs.
I'm going to match it with something dark. I'm going to go a porter or a stout.
Nice. I love all the sounds of that. Let's say thank you very much to the people for coming to listen to us just chat to each other about 2 of our favourite things, barbecue and beer. And let's go and find some of that porterhouse. We'll go find some of that steak, some of those chicken, some of that IPA, and let's have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@smokinghotconfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
Just look at me and say, and go. All right, yes, I know. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your patience. Okay, so, Julian has put all this together this weekend. It has been absolutely wonderful. I've had a ball. I've had a great time.
The weather today has been wonderful, and Julian would just like to say a few words to you all. Guys, I know everyone's been waiting, so I'm not going to take long. Thank you very much once again for coming to the event and competing. I do appreciate that a lot of you spend time away from your families and from work and stuff. A special thanks to the guys that travelled from all over the place to come. Guys and girls, can you give yourselves a big round of applause? Because you do deserve it. Over and out. That's it. Let's go. All right, so our Queensland KCBS representative Scott here will be handing out the awards. Ongi's on the phone because no one's going to let Ongi near a microphone. So we're going to call out from 5. So jump up, scream, wave your hands in the air, and we're going to call up from 3. All right, so kicking things off with Lamb. Are we ready to go? All right. Sorry, I was asking Scott. I know you're ready. I'm well aware that you're ready. All right, Lamb. 5th place, a call out goes to Ripper Barbecue. 5th place, Lamb. You forgot the jump up part. Yay! All right. 4th place goes to the King and his Q. The most beautiful collection of matching gateway drums you've ever seen. Now, 3rd place, a call up. Can you please come up? Lamb, 3rd place, Pit Crew Barbecue. Also, incidentally, picking up the award for the most beautiful beard in barbecue. Beautiful. Okay, 2nd place. Can we please have... Hey, did you grab my butt? Thank you. 2nd place, Up in Smoke Barbecue. All right, 1st place, Lamb. Can we please have Ribs and Pigs Barbecue? Okay, moving on to beef ribs. For a call out, 5th place, Angus Reserve Barbecue. If anybody knows beef, it's going to be those gentlemen. 4th place, Bluebird Barbecue. And for a call up for 3rd place, oh, big smile, Flamin' Mongrels Barbecue. 2nd place for beef ribs, can we please have Country Boys Barbecue? All right, and 1st place for beef ribs, can we please have Charcoal Kings? Okay, we're moving on to chicken now. Chicken. 5th place call out, Angus Reserve Barbecue. They know their beef, they know their chicken. 4th place, Barbecue Mafia. Can't even see you. Okay, 3rd place for a call up. Can we please have... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Cereal Grillers. Fraser's feeling a little bit tender today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be nice to him. Ladies and gentlemen, please cheer quietly and gently for the Cereal Grillers. I've been there too many times. Number 2, can we please have 2nd place chicken, Smoking Daggers. And for 1st place in chicken, can we please have the Smoking Jackets? Bring the hired help. Yeah, bring the hired help. Come on. All right, moving right along to pork ribs. 5th place call out, Smoking Hot Bros. 4th place call out, Flamin' Mongrels. 3rd place call up, please come on up, Bluebird Barbecue. You can cuddle Graham later. Come on, get up here. 2nd place, can we please have the King and his Q? And 1st place for pork ribs, take a walk, Grillers in the Mist. All right, pork, for a call out, 5th place, the King and his Q. 4th place, Smoking Hot Bros. For a call up, get ready for the scream and the jump and the wave, the Flamin' Mongrels. It's like a 1980s Toyota commercial, I love it. 2nd place, can we please have the Smokin' Jackets? No, you're the mongrels. And can you please come up for 1st place in pork, the Brizzy Basters. With some of the most talented kids in barbecue. And here he is, the most talented child in barbecue. And moving on to brisket. 5th place with a call out.
Did we get a photo with Dr.
Too late. Brisket 9-9. 4th place, Zed's Q. 3rd place, come on up, let's see you up here, Smoky Days Barbecue. 2nd place, please come on up, the Fast Lane Barbecue Crew. All the way from Melbourne. And for 1st place in brisket, the one they all want to win, can we please have the Brizzy Basters? And the award for the most times on stage this weekend goes to this kid right here. Okay, so there was a little side pot happening at this competition, the Rib King. 6-pack buy-in. And I've just had from Rusty's just come here and just give me the... Okay. Just thought somebody fell down the stairs. I just had a little public liability panic. Grillers in the Mist, come out and collect your Rib King prizes, please.
Guys, while that happens, I always forget to thank the support crew that support me. Now, first of all, we'll start with the KCBS crew. Big round of applause for David Ong, Scott Barnett, and Peter, who's over there with your scores, which you can go and see after the presentation. My support crew, which is made up of obviously my wife first and foremost, Kelly and Lucy, who do all the bumping and whatever, and the rest of the crew. A big hand for them as well, please.
Let's count down to grand champion, shall we? All right, so we're going to call out from 10 and then call up the last 2, yeah? Number 10, 10th place with a call out. Grillers in the Mist. 9th place, Smoky Days Barbecue. 8th place, Angus Reserve Barbecue. 7, the Smoking Jackets. 6, Smoking Daggers. 5, Flamin' Mongrels Barbecue. 4, Country Boys Barbecue. 3, the Brizzy Basters. Yeah, ooh, that's right. 2nd place, RGC at the first ever KCBS competition in Queensland. Please take a walk. The Smoking Hot Bros. So that was a $2.5 grand prize purse. Sorry, Julian, I was meant to mention that before. But for grand champion, first ever KCBS in Queensland, $5,000 prize purse. Everyone's going to be wanting this. The King and his Q!
So guys and girls, thank you very much. That brings an end to the proceedings. A big shout out to Redlands City Council. Redlands, of course, is a wonderful place. It encompasses the North Stradbroke Island. Do remember this place when coming across for holidays and all. Thank you again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out. I've had a great weekend. I know you've had a great weekend. Thank you to Julian. Thank you to the team. Thank you to Summer. Thank you to Ongi. Thank you to Scott. It's been a beautiful weekend. Good night.
And there you have it, family, the 2019 Barbecue and Beer Roadshow. Huge congrats go out to Smokin' Hot Bros and the King and his Q on their RGC and GC winnings, and I'm looking forward to seeing them hit the 2 remaining KCBS comps in Queensland so they can have a crack at Team of the Year. Before I let you go, I want to remind you about the Kettle Caps, the Smoking Hot Confessions community on Facebook, and if you have a minute, it'd really help me out if you could subscribe, rate, and review the show. The ratings and reviews trigger the algorithms and make Apple distribute the podcast further and wider, so they're really important and very much appreciated. And that's the end of the show. Till next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.